Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your breakfast bankroll for Thursday, March 24th, 2022. Yes, March Madness is back. The Sweet 16 today and tomorrow, the Elite 8 Saturday and Sunday as we get closer to the Final Four, and who will be cutting the nets down. Yesterday, Tyreek Hill was the topic of conversation as he goes to the Miami Dolphins for 5 draft picks. As I was talking to some colleagues yesterday, I guess no one values draft picks anymore. I mean, a boatload, and then he gets paid, I think, 4 for 120 or something stupid like that. Great player on the field, a walking time bomb off the field, and I think Andy Reid came to the conclusion that hey, we have enough money spent on Patrick. We can't now dump 30 million per on Tyreek. Never mind, if he does something off the field and having that money tied up. So I think it was a great move for the Chiefs. Now they have a hole. I guess they called out to Seattle to see the availability of DK Metcalf or Lockett. They did add Juju a couple of weeks ago, 10 days ago, whatever. So they have some holes, but they have a dynamic offense. They have Patrick Mahomes. So the AFC is going to be crazy for sure. The Bagman, 167 large, go up in flames. I talk about the NBA and the halftime and the end of the third quarter phone calls. I think Houston was up one at half. And when you're catching 10 and a half, you feel comfortable. There was definitely a middle play in there. You could have went in and taken the Mavs second half, -6 or whatever the number was. And you could have hedged out or you could have tried for a middle. But I think Dallas outscores the Rockets by 11 in the third and, I don't know, double digits in the fourth. So that is what it is. Quiet night for us. We were on the Bagman's play. So we're 3-2 this week, plus 0.97, almost one full unit for the week. So we're doing fine. 14-6 our last 20 and a great winning percentage there. But without further ado, let's bring in my co-host, the man from the Palm Tree State himself, the one, the only, Mr. Scott E. Webb. Morning, Scott.
Morning, Jeff. Had to clean my glasses off here. Little greasy or whatever the heck they get. I don't know. You know how the lenses are on your glasses. You wake up and you go, holy crap, I can't see. And then you wonder why. And then it's because you got to clean your damn glasses off.
I fell asleep last night with mine on. I think I woke up like an hour later and I was like on my head. I had this big imprint right here. But it is what it is. Another early night. I tell you, it was hot. I wasn't expecting it. There's talks that we might hit 90 here in the weekend, and the sun's definitely working. I try to get out early, get the cardio in, get a few hot tubs in, and do our work. Paint the town. Yesterday we were over at MGM Grand for a couple hours, and then we were met up with our buddies, and sat in the Bellagio sports book for about 3 hours, just talking, taking in the scenes and stuff till I headed back. But all is well, and hats off to you. All the content that you're spitting out there in the MLB, if all the baseball fans and followers, really jump on there. Scott's putting out some amazing content as we're getting closer to opening day, and even throughout late last night, what would be the Webby odds for tomorrow for opening day. Some interesting matchups there, and so it caught my eye. But overall, how are you? The stage is yours. You want to talk some bases, those opening day odds, or whatever you want. The stage is yours.
Well, I just thought it might be interesting to what today makes officially 2 weeks away. So I thought, okay, well, let's just make some lines and see what it looks like and see what the matchups are, because I didn't know what they were. I wasn't even paying attention to some of that stuff. I'm doing all kinds of other crap. So I was just trying to figure out, let's just see what it looks like. And then I thought, well, 1 week away, I'll do another batch and see if it changes too much, because they won't change a whole lot, but they'll change some. And then I thought, okay, well, let's just see how close they are. Now, you got to remember that, my number has nothing to do with the sports book. So I'm just putting out what the true odds should be, and that's based off of the projected winning percentages as best as I can get them, as close as I can get them to these teams, and then the pitchers matchups. So there's going to be a little bit of discernation between what I do and what a sports book does and so forth. But that being said, I use my numbers as comparison to what a sports book comes out. And that's where I try to find the value in what a true number is versus where they're maybe understanding how the money flow is going to happen. And they set a number a little different. So, yeah, I thought it was a pretty interesting slate of games. I think that overall there was 2 games that I was really interested in. One way more so than even the other one. The game I'm gonna scratch everything off the table to watch will be the Houston Astros at the Los Angeles Angels, where you got Verlander going against Ohtani in game number 1. I think that'll be an amazing game to watch. You'll have Trout back, Rendon. I don't know if he's going to play or not. He hasn't played any spring training games yet, but he's still battling back. But I think that'll be an awesome game with those 2 pitchers. And then I thought the other game that was an amazing matchup is Seattle plays at Minnesota. And not that these are the greatest teams in the world, but they'll be good teams. And you get to see Robbie Ray, and then you get to see Sonny Gray. And that's going to be a really close matchup too. So I kind of like those. Obviously, you got the Yankees, Red Sox, so that'll be a game that you got to watch. And, no matter what the number is in that game, it really doesn't matter. I mean, those 2 teams are going to be as competitive as they can against each other. But the number's going to be pretty high because it's Cole at home. So it doesn't, it is what it is. And then it's the rest of them are not great matchups. I mean, you got DeGrom's going to pitch, and he's on the road, and he's going to be over 200 favorite on the road. You got Darvish, who's going to be on the mound, and it might not be Darvish. I just think it will be. Anyway, if it's him on the mound, the Padres play the Diamondbacks, so that's going to be a big number. So there wasn't a whole lot of other good matchups in there. But if we get 3 quality games and we get to have some fun, I think that'll be a good time. But I just thought it might be interesting because I wasn't looking at that. And then, I put out the stuff about the National League Central yesterday. And as I was doing it, I came up with another goddamn play. So I think, I think the Cincinnati Reds, the cupboard's not as bare as everybody thinks it is. And I think that the number that I saw out there, and I don't know if it's still the same, I would assume it's fairly close, but that number was 71.5 that the Superbook put out for the Cincinnati Reds. And, they won 83 games last year. Now, if I went over the list of players that they lost, you'd go, holy shit. And then you go over the players they brought in, you'd go, holy shit, this is terrible. But, you got to remember that this team has the NL Rookie of the Year in Jonathan India. They got the Joey Votto. So you got guys you can build around. Plus, they got 2 pitchers in Tyler Mahle and Luis Castillo, Luis Castillo is kind of, I don't think he's going to jump right in there. I think he's going to be another week or 2 behind. But anyway, they got some pitchers. And then I think that they signed some pretty decent players. I mean, they just signed Tommy Pham yesterday. So this team is not as far off as everybody thinks they are. I mean, sure, the cupboard's less bare than it, or more bare than it was last year. I don't think by far they're a playoff team. But you're telling me that this team that won 83 games is going to be 12 to 13 games worse with the players that they have? I mean, they still got Mike Moustakas in there, and they got Nick Senzel who can play, and they got a couple of other guys that just get them sparked up a little bit. They can certainly play. So I think their biggest loss is Wade Miley, those kind of guys, because that's a third or fourth kind of guy. But they went and signed Mike Minor. That's the same thing. So I think the Reds are a team that's interesting because I think the demise of the Reds is way too exaggerated, and I think that the Cubs are forecast on Sports Superbook, the Superbook, to be 74.5 wins. So you're telling me that the Cincinnati Reds with this team is going to be lower than what the Cubs are? I think if they're going to be anything, those two teams will be about even. So I'm looking at 75 wins for the Reds. So I think that's a run out to the window and play it now before everybody else wakes up and goes, holy shit, the Reds aren't as bad as everybody thought they were. And they still got to play the Pittsburgh Pirates 19 times, for God's sakes. So they're going to beat the Pirates up, and I think that you're going to get some wins out of that. So I thought doing that exercise and working through all that yesterday was pretty good. I think Milwaukee's the cream of the crop there. I think that they got a little better offensively, and I think that that team, if they could get Christian Yelich to do what Christian Yelich did a few years ago, he doesn't have to be the MVP Christian Yelich, but he needs to be All-Star Christian Yelich. If he can do that, this is a team that can win the World Series. It really is, and I think that that's going to be an interesting thing to see if he does well. Of course, you can't really tell anything out of preseason games and all that stuff, but I will tell you this. What's that website called? It's hold on, let me get it real quick. It is baseballreference.com. If you go to baseballreference.com, and I use it for certain things, but baseballreference.com has you go to seasons, and you can do spring training stats for this season. Okay, spring training stats are ridiculous. However, they have a little column that says opponent quality. That's what it is. So they grade the pitcher that these batters have faced as to whether they're a major league pitcher, a triple A pitcher, a double A pitcher, a single A pitcher, and then they grade them all out, and you get a grade for what type of talent that this guy's been facing. And if you really want to get a good gauge, you can look at it from that lens and go, well, no wonder this guy's hitting this shit out of the ball. He's facing single A pitchers. Or you can go, this guy's doing actually pretty good because he's facing major league pitchers and he's on time and doing pretty well. So it gives you a little better gauge as to what you're seeing. But again, I'm just telling you, these guys work on shit. They don't care what their numbers are. They don't care they don't want to be the home run leader in spring training. I'm telling you, they don't. They don't mind hitting home runs, but you don't get paid to be the spring training home run king. It doesn't work like that. So anyway, that being said, Christian Yelich is having a pretty decent spring so far. He batted 500.
A lot to bounce off of there. Going back to the opening day, those first two that you talked about really caught my eye. Basically Verlander and Shotani, a pick 'em. I'm just going to go on record and say by first pitch, you'll probably see Verlander minus 115, 120. I would lean initially on Shohei and the Angels at home. And sarcastically, I'm going to be in full fade Ray mode to start the year. I know he had a great year now. He got paid. He's bouncing over to Seattle. I think Minnesota is intriguing. Their opening day with Sonny Gray. Maybe it'd be a first five play. I don't know. I don't trust Minnesota in the back end there. But I'm glad you brought up the Brewers because we're sitting in the sports book in the Bellagio for about 3 hours yesterday. And a gentleman from Boston who's getting ready for the high stakes fantasy baseball this weekend, was basically talking about they're giving out free money. And I think, oh, really? Sounds good. He goes, no, Jeff, I'm serious. They're giving out free money. I was like, well, I like free money. Let me hear it. And it was the Brewers to win the division. The Brewers are minus 130 and right around there. And the Cardinals were next, I think, at plus 220. Now, I'm just going to be devil's advocate. I am right now. I thought the Brewers got a dream season last year from their starting staff. Electric, elite. I'm not denying it. And again, Josh Hader in the back end, I'm not denying it. Their offense was anemic at times, but the pitching carried them. So if that was so dominant and is going to be so dominant this year, why is it only minus 130? We know that the Cardinals pitching staff right now, they don't have anyone. Flaherty's out. Reyes out. And the list is endless. Mikolas hurt. Why is it only minus 130?
I don't think people think that the Milwaukee Brewers are that good.
How,
I think
with aces on aces on aces with Hader, the smart
don't forget,
knows how dominant they are.
They got Devin Williams in the back end, and they got a guy named Aaron Ashby back there that throws 97 miles an hour. Aaron Ashby's the 7-hole guy. Devin Williams, the 8-hole guy. Hader's the 9th guy. And you got 3 starting pitchers that are going to go 6 innings. So all 3 of those guys, Peralta and Woodruff and Burns, they're all going to go 6 innings. So then you go to Ashby in the 7th, you go to Williams in the 8th, and you go to Hader in the 9th. Good luck. I mean, just good luck. And they play, and Jeff, they play the goddamn Cubs and the Pirates and shit. Are you kidding me? So I think that what people don't realize about these Brewers is they let me pull up the roster recently. Well, it didn't matter. They signed Hunter Renfroe. Okay, well, Hunter Renfroe isn't the biggest name in the world, but he's a big home run RBI guy. And that's what they missed. They don't have an RBI guy. And that was what Christian Yelich has to be. And they missed all of that for the last 2 years with Christian Yelich. So if Christian Yelich bounces back in any way, shape, or form to be an all-star level player, this team takes way, way big jumps. The other player that I think makes a big difference on this team is Andrew McCutchen. Now, Andrew McCutchen is just that veteran bat that knows what to do. He can be an RBI guy. Now, the problem I have with this is that I think they're going to bat him 4th. Are you kidding me? If he's your 4th hole hitter, that's not very damn good. But that being said, they got a couple guys, Willie Adames, Luis Urias, and whatever the hell the other guy's name is. It's there's one other guy. Oh, Colton Wong. Those are on base guys. They get on base. The problem is they didn't have nobody to drive them in. So I think they did the right thing in who they signed to actually create more RBIs and run production. And if they get anything more out of Yelich, like anything, I think this team is hands down going to go there. Now think about this. They won 95 games last year, Jeff. 95. And they couldn't hit the ball worth a shit. So what if they can hit better this year and they pitch similar to last year, not the best? Okay, well, I still tell you that there's no pitching comparison in that division. There's not.
I'm just playing devil's advocate, okay? I'm just playing devil's advocate because on paper, they're light years ahead of the rest of the field. It's not even up for debate.
I don't think so.
The problem I have is that they're only minus 130. That's my problem, okay? I don't root injuries, bad karma. I don't root. Okay, I'm just telling you, you know this from the eye test, okay? Hader has shown flashes of
getting
struggles. Yes. And Milwaukee even chopping them around, just throwing out soft lobs there. I think there's something back there in the arm or something. I'm not calling them Chris Sale either, okay? And their front starting staff is electric. I just smell something. I do. I smell something. And you talked at length earlier this season how the Cardinals offense is going to be fun to watch. And again, they have 0 pitching right now, none. I'm just saying buyer beware there. I'm not saying the Brewers don't win and they don't run and hide, because if the starting staff stays healthy, they're going to get out and not look back. If they don't get injuries, it's a lock. And I don't use that. It's a lock. Okay? But something smells there. And the same as the division he preached was the Astros. Again, I get it. I do. They're there every year. They got good young pitching. in the back end. They have some good starting pitchers. Verlander's back. They're in a division where I think Seattle regresses, even though they brought Ray over. I like Gilbert over there. I like everything about them. I think the Angels get the boost. I think a healthy Rendon, a healthy Trout. Again, you can kind of offensively compare the Angels maybe to the Cardinals. Again, lacking that starting staff. But again, he's walking around with the Brewers and the Astros. Pretty chalky, and in a 162 game season, I'm just telling initially, just buyer beware. That's all.
I think, and the two that you're talking about, I don't mind the Brewers bet at all. Now, I don't like the Astros bet. And the reason I don't like the Astros bet is because I don't know how good the Angels are going to be. I think the Angels are going to be pretty good. And the truth of the matter is, what if, and just what if Ohtani pitches like he did last year and he pitches really well and maybe even pitches better? He can pitch better. And he can get more consistent. He can be he can be that the ace of aces, right? That guy's really good. Throws 100 miles an hour, for God's sake. What if Noah Syndergaard can pitch? What if? So if you're going to tell me Ohtani and Syndergaard can pitch, and they can throw 98, 100 miles an hour and put the ball over the plate and they can get outs, guess what? Their pitching staff at the front end is better than anybody else in that league. They're better than anybody else in the American League West. And you know what? Their offense is comparable to anybody else too. So that tells me that the Angels can be as good as or better than Houston. They can be that. They're going to miss they're going to miss Correa. They're going to miss him in Houston a lot because he's the guy that stirred the stick last year on a bounce back season. So they're going to rely on Kyle Tucker to be the young stud that comes up and plays really well in Houston now. And, you're still going to need Altuve to do what Altuve does, Michael Brantley to do what he does, and you're going to need Alvarez to be a stud. So I think that there's a real good likelihood that and I would just say this, if the Angels are getting off to a good start and they can play and they take off and they start running away with things, don't be surprised if they go out and make a trade or do whatever or go make a thing and get another pitcher because they got money. They're not afraid to spend money. Holy shit, they spend bad money over bad money all the time. So go get another pitcher. You know what I mean? Go give up whatever you have to give up and get Frankie Montas or something like that. And then all of a sudden, holy shit, you're as good or better than anybody else in your division in the American League West. So I don't like the Houston play at all as a big favorite. I don't like that because I think the Angels are a team that can be as good or better than most. So, but I don't see Milwaukee falling back. And the only reason I say that is because I think that, in that division, you got the Cubs, you got the Reds, and you got the Pirates. And even though St. Louis can't pitch, they're going to out-hit all those other teams. They're going to out-hit them. I think a dark horse guy to keep an eye on, and I would like to see if you can find a number. Maybe you got it on your sheet. O'Neill for St. Louis. What is the odds of two things? One, he's going to be the home run champion, and two, and is an MVP guy. Because I think that if that guy pops out and he does things that are what he can do and where he can go, I think that he's the guy that, as a dark horse guy, you're going to get great value on. He's projected at 40 home runs. So it's not that much to think that he can't win the title. And I also think that if he hits 40 home runs, he's going to be the best player on St. Louis's team. And I don't think people think he's going to be. I think they still like Nolan Arenado, and I think they still like Paul Goldschmidt. But I'm going to tell you, this guy's better than both.
For MVP, he opened up at 100-1. He's now 50-1.
Damn.
And
50-1 is still a good number. Shit. That's a good dark horse number, Jeff. That's a good number to put something on.
I don't have the home runs in front of me. I'll have that early next week when I go
Yeah, no
down.
worries. I just thought it'd be interesting to see a number on a guy like that because I think he's a young kid that can really put things together and he can jump on some stuff. And I think that he's a dark horse guy that can do a lot of stuff out there. And and again, if Christian Yelich has any kind of season, it doesn't matter. I mean, they're going to hit, they're going to score, and they don't need to score that much. That's the problem with the Cardinals. They're going to have to score a shit ton. Now, if Flaherty can pitch like Flaherty did the second half of his, sophomore season or whatever it was, that guy's earned run average in the second half of the season was one or less. He was awesome. And then he hasn't pitched like that ever since. I mean, he's been hurt and he's had this and he's had that, and now he's got arm trouble again. So it's not arm trouble, it's shoulder problems. And that's different than your elbow, but at the same time, it's still a problem. So here's how I look at the Cardinals, and I know we're going to get into basketball, so we'll do that. But the Cardinals' number one starter is Adam Wainwright. Adam Wainwright is 40 years old this year. And I don't mind Adam Wainwright being 40 years old. He's a quality pitcher, but he is not going to be a favorite over very many teams when he's now. I say that, and then of course I don't remember who they play in the first week because when I did the numbers, he's a big favorite. He's a big favorite. Oh, they play the Pirates. That's why. So he's the opening day starter or whatever. But what would you think the Cardinals would be if they had an ace, right? And then they had, a secondary guy that can pitch. And then you had Wainwright pitching third or fourth. How deep would that rotation be? And how good would they be then if you had a pitching staff like that? And that's where I think that they're missing the boat on these guys. Miles Mikolas is a guy that should be third, fourth, fifth guy. He's not a number two guy or none of that stuff. They got Dakota Hudson coming back that they want him to pitch well, and Miles Mikolas and Adam Wainwright. And then they went and got Steven Matz. Steven Matz is going to go number 2 on this team. Shit, he was number 4 for the Toronto Blue Jays last year, and he's going to go number 2 on this team. So they're going to have to score and score and score and score. And their problem where the Brewers don't have, I talked about Luis Arias and Willie Adames and those guys, they get on base. The Cardinals got guys like, I don't know, Harrison Bader and Tommy Edmond and those guys. They don't get on base. And that's a problem. So they're going to score. They're going to have 3 guys that have 100 RBIs. But at the same time, it's not going to be – they'll be a lot like watching the Yankees and shit.
Shout out to Marty Lowe in Alabama. Good morning, Marty. Roll Tide. March Madness is back. Marty getting all excited for some baseball. Maybe a trip to Fenway Park this year to see the Red Sox. And disappointed with the Patriot moves, as I said yesterday to him. They spent all their money last year, and they're just sitting back and plugging holes. They let J.C. Jackson go to the Chargers, so they bring back Malcolm Butler, who Bill Belichick despised, didn't want to pay him while he was in his prime. Now they bring him back when he's not in his prime, but that's for another day. Let's go over to today's games. NBA, anything hitting the board? Anything you see?
Well, yesterday, I played those 2 quality dogs is what I would call them. I played Utah against the Boston Celtics, and you saw how that went. But I did play Golden State, and Golden State wins outright. So I thought at worst it was going to be a 1-1 day, but I thought, and I even said that. I thought, okay, well, at worst I think it's going to be a 1-1 day. And that's what it ended up being, a 1-1 day. You can't. This is a goddamn NBA, man. These teams show up sometimes and sometimes they don't, and I can't figure that part of it out. But looking at today's numbers, one thing that I saw that caught my eye that I'm not going to follow along with, but the Chicago Bulls, they opened up at -1. They got I don't know if it was bet up or whatever. They were up when I initially put this out. They were up to -3. And now it's flipped to New Orleans as -1.5. And the reason for that is DeMar DeRozan for Chicago is a game time decision tonight. So he's probably based on what your numbers show, he's probably not going to play if that's the people thinking he's going to flip. So I'm going to stay off of that one. This Phoenix Denver game, I don't understand at all, so I'm probably not going to play it. The Denver Nuggets opened at -3 against Phoenix at home. That's an eye-opening number to me, is that there's no way Denver should be 3-point favorites against Phoenix. And people are betting on them. They're up to -5. And I don't get that at all. And there's nobody on Phoenix that's out other than Chris Paul. The other guys are all going to play, and they've played very well. And the truth is, Denver's defense has been awful. So I don't get that one. So I'm just going to stay off of that game. What was the other game? Oh, Indiana plays Memphis tonight. It's -12. It's up to 12.5. I don't know what these guys are looking at, but Morant's not playing tonight. He's out. So if you got their best player on Memphis not playing and you got to cover 12.5, I don't like that very well. But I'm not going to say that Indiana's going to cover 12.5. But Memphis just beat up on what they beat. They beat Brooklyn yesterday. So I'm going to, maybe they're just going to coast and I don't know. I wouldn't go on Memphis's side. So that leaves me with the only thing I'm looking at all, and I'm probably not going to do this either. But the only thing my numbers say, Cleveland plays Toronto. The number opened at -214 as a total. It's bet up to 215. My number says 222. So I think that game should be over the total and over the 215. But I'm not so sure I'm going to play that. I might just pass on the whole board tonight.
Going back to your Denver game, what I have to say for the opening numbers, you go back to Sunday, and the Celtics were 3.5-point favorites at Denver, and they destroyed them. So now you got Denver 3-point favorites over Phoenix. Now 5, I would just keep an eye on that. Not that I'm saying they know something, but I'm telling you that opening number at 3, now 5, is telling you what they are expecting there. So keep an eye on that one. Go over to pregame, Scotty. We're just going to go down through the games tonight in college hoop.
Let me get there because I changed my screen. Hold on, I'll get there in 1 second. Okay, let's go.
Rotation number 8623. Actually, these first have no 8623. 624. Is that right?
623, 624.
Okay, the 8's in front of the South Point here. Houston, Arizona. I mean, I can tell you this: Arizona opened up at 1 and at Westgate on Sunday when we were there. Now to 2. I'm not calling this a pros versus Joe's game, but I'm just telling you. Before the tournament started, Arizona was the talk of the town. They were the team to beat other than the Zags. Be interesting to see what Scotty has for numbers on ticket count there. But I'm just telling you, don't sleep on this Houston team. That's all I'm going to tell you here. This team on Ken Palm and a few other sites is 1.5-point favorites. But they know the public draw to Arizona, and they know they could set that number as high as 1.5. It's now 2. They're still going to get Arizona money. Not many people know about this Houston team, and they're legit, and they play amazing defense. And it'll be interesting to see how the Arizona offense goes through this Houston defense.
Well, this is there's what, four games, right?
Tonight? Yes.
This is the highest bet game. There's only 212,000. I say that because there was games yesterday, Jeff, when I went back through here and looking at this shit. Holy crap, there was 500,000, 400,000 on these games yesterday. So I'm expecting that to be a big number later on today. But so $212,000 on the game. We're showing Arizona -1.5, and I'm showing 51% of the money. So it's a pretty good split there. But 51% of the money is on Houston. 56% of the tickets is on Arizona.
And it's kind of sort of what I thought. I think as this gets closer to tip-off, the public side will be Arizona. The Houston side will be, and the Houston side will be more of the pro side. I lean Houston +2 here, guys, plus 115 on the money line. And that could change by tip off, but that's just where I've been the whole time. I'm an open in line number guy. Okay. I let the public then persuade anyone that wants to follow them. I just thought the number was real low when I opened it. And then when I talked to Rex at the Westgate, he goes, Jeff, to be honest with you, I got Houston -1.5 here. So it'll be interesting to see there. Rotation number 625, 626, Michigan and Nova, Villanova -5. That number has not moved. It's just been stuck on 5 the whole time. I can tell you that the world's on Nova and the number hasn't moved. When I get a text early in the morning, when all you guys back east are sleeping, that says Nova rolls today, my eyes go, oh, really? Do they? So interesting to see what you got there, Scotty.
We got $150,000 on the game, 61% of the money, 57% of the tickets on Villanova.
Yet the number hasn't moved. Keep an eye on Michigan plus the 5 there. Arkansas and the Zags, 627, 628. This number opened at 9.5. It's dropped to 8.5. You know something? Arkansas is a great team, and they actually will want to run up and down with Gonzaga, which is not the right thing to do. A total that opened at 154. I think this number gets over the total. I think Arkansas will come out guns a-blazing. I think the Zags had their wake-up call. I think the Zags win the game. But do they cover? That's a tough number to cover. But, again, I have a slight lean on the over, not that I'm going there. And I would assume, Scotty, this is a Zags number on the tickets and spread.
Yeah, I'm showing that this game, you said, what is it, open at 9.5? Pregame says it, or not pregame, Wager Talk said it opened at 8.5. And maybe it didn't. And they got Circa's -10, Westgate's 9.5, South Point's 9.5, DraftKings 9.5. So they're showing in their world, I guess, showing a little bit of line movement towards Gonzaga. And on the pregame side, they're saying the number opened at 9. They're saying 9.5 is the current number, and they're showing 200,000 on the game. 59% of the money, 52% of the tickets on Gonzaga.
I mean, it's a number, again, like tomorrow with the Providence and Kansas game that opened up so high. They're trying to attract the dog. They're doing anything they can to get the dog money. I think they're doing the same thing here. I think it'll be a fun game. I do. I just think the Zags had their wake-up call. I think they kind of flexed their muscles here. It's a good matchup for them. And the game of the night, 629, 630, Texas Tech and Duke. I can tell you this, Duke opened up -1. I do know that it's flipped to Texas Tech -1.5. Are you buying the sizzle or the steak? You buying the story? This is Duke and Coach K's last game, or are you buying that they got another run in them? They're going to get to the Elite Eight and maybe get Coach K at least to the Final Four. He's already beaten the Zags team this year as it is. Tough game for me. I'm a Texas Tech backer. When I see, the 136.5 number is a Duke number. It's not a Texas Tech total number. So it's I'm torn here. I know Tech's the better team. With that said, I think Tech's also the public team today, even though it's Duke and Coach K and the story.
Wager Talk is showing that it opened at Texas Tech -1. I will tell you that Circa, Westgate, South Point, DraftKings, Caesars all have the same thing. It's a pick'em. There is no line, so it's a pick'em. Over on pregame, it's showing is a pick'em, and it's $186,000 on the game. 52% of the money is on Texas Tech. 60% of the tickets are on Duke.
It's a tough call. I'm going to tell you, with those guys dropping to a pick 'em, I will tell you there had to have been overnight money on Duke coming into town because Texas Tech was won throughout the day as I've been watching it. Tough. Listen, anyone wants to back either side there. I can see both sides. I could see betting the story and Texas Tech defense dominating. I can see Duke guns are blazing and Texas Tech's offense struggling. Uh, I know everyone wants action on the game. Again, that total at 136.5 is an eye opener to me. That's not a Texas Tech under over number. It's a Duke number. So I guess with the eyes today, I would say I'd lean over. And guys, listen, I'm not a total player. I could have tomorrow's paper in my hand and I'd still lose an under or an over. That's how snake bitten I am. So be careful there. I looked at the NHL, Scott. The only one game that really opened my eyes, Tampa at Boston. Tampa opened as the favorite, which the Bruins, I think, is 7-2-1 their last 10, which is a little surprising to me. I think the Bruins are now the favorite, but I know I checked pregame, the numbers are low. But you see anything on that game?
Showing $2,100 on the game, so maybe people are confused a little bit. But there's not showing much action yet at all. And there's the highest bet game's got 8,700 so far. 71% of the money, 67% of the tickets of that $2,100 are on Tampa Bay.
Okay, and what's the number right now?
It's showing Boston minus 107.
Okay, so little reverse line. Actually, I think I saw Tampa as 115. Now it's basically a pick 'em. So we'll keep an eye on that. Obviously, a busy day ahead as we get closer. In 4 hours, my time, I'll be going to Chicago via StreamYard. Thank you. We'll have Colton Soroka on. We'll get the Windy City review. We'll talk about his Vegas trip, his thoughts, and we'll be breaking down the NCAA games. And maybe we'll be talking a little Cubby action with him as we get 2 weeks closer to MLB. And then myself and Scott probably will not be having the closing bell. I can't guarantee it. I got to see what the schedule looks like. And then on Friday, same thing. Me and Scott early in the morning. Riley Magnuson in the afternoon from Chicago, and we'll be playing the closing belt by ear. Closing thoughts, Scott.
It's raining here in Florida today, so I don't know how much action you'll be able to get on these preseason games. Most of these teams don't play in the northern part of Florida. They play in the middle to southern part of Florida, and it's raining in the middle to northern part. So, maybe they'll get some of the games in. I don't know. I do think it's worthwhile to keep an eye on their pitching arms and the speed that they're throwing. Yesterday was the first day that a lot of these guys are making their second starts. So, as you go along, I'll post that up again here in a couple of days once I get more guys throwing some more. So I'm tracking it every day. So I've got the volume, the velocity that they're throwing. So anyway, I think that it's stuff to keep an eye on. I guess I have one closing thought of anything else is why is Michael Conforto still out there available to somebody? Because he can help someone. I'm interested to see where he ends up because, if he ends up on a team that he can, what if he goes to Milwaukee or somebody like that? Well, there's another goddamn hitter that they got that they can score, or maybe he goes to Minnesota or, teams like that can use him. What would be great? I think it would be great if he ended up in Miami. And the reason I say that is because they bring in Soler, they bring in Conforto, and they got those pitchers. That's all they need to do was hit. And if you get a couple of guys that can hit on that team, they're not a playoff team. Don't get me wrong, but they're building in the right way with the right stuff. And Jazz Chisholm is going to be a hell of a player.
Yeah, their problem is they can get on base. How many times have I told you, bases loaded, no outs, they don't score? They're the most frustrating team. And with the arms that they have, the Alcantaras of the world and a few other arms, they definitely keep these guys in games. If they could get a couple guys that could, clear the bases, get those gap shots, it's the most frustrating team. I'm telling you. I sat in South Point one day last year, and Scotty, I had a Marlins ticket, and I think it went 14 innings or something. Actually, it wasn't last year. It was probably the year before because there was no ghost runners. And I think it went 14, 15 innings. And these guys, I'm telling you, they had about 18 LOBs. And they should have won the game 25 times, and they ended up losing it. So they are frustrating. For me, guys, I know March Madness is back, and I just need everyone to reset the batteries, check the upstairs, turn the light on, because if you had a bad first weekend, now that they're back doesn't mean you go chase what you lost last weekend. It's a new week. It's a new start. It's a new beginning. If you only like one game, even though there's 4 games, play the one game. Okay. Just because there's 4 games on doesn't mean we have to dive into them. We got 4 games tomorrow. So just, tighten up the arsenal, as I like to say. Let's stay sharp here. If you have any questions, reach out to me, Scotty. We're here to answer. As I like to say, we're here to educate, and we entertain once in a while. So if you are wagering today, always, always, always wager and invest responsibly. If you have a problem, pick up the phone. There is an 800 number available. Ask for help. Why? Because myself and Scotty care. We want to see you here today, tomorrow, next week, next month, through 2022 and beyond. From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from Scotty Webb at Webby20MLB. We wish everyone a blessed day. Enjoy the games. Have some fun. Smile. It's free and untaxed. We will see you soon. Having mouse problems, Scotty. Hold on.
The cat got the mouse.